Hey, what is up, you sexy beasts? It's Tristan here, and I'm with
Alpha77.
And he's been on my channel over the years, and he's been my friend for quite a long time, and he really wanted to do ghostly advice, and I figured I should bring him on. He obviously has a lot of advice to tell and stuff like that, so we're going to go through this, and we're going to give honest, serious advice to a lot of these emails. Pretty sure some of them are serious, but one of them is pretty funny as well. So I'm actually going to get right into it. I'm going to summarize the first email because it's quite long, and it's basically this guy smokes pot in freshman year and everything like that, and he was completely open and honest with his dad, which if you have that kind of great relationship, I really suggest keeping it and keeping open and honest with your parents. And so he told his dad about that, and his dad was okay, but he ended up catching him a few times selling, buying, and using it as well, sneaking out to do this drug, and his dad wasn't very cool with that. You know, he's like, look, you can smoke it if it's okay, just on a normal thing, but don't go doing all this crazy stuff while high and stuff like that. So anyway, he told his mom, and she didn't handle it that well because he lives with his dad. And then he told them that he tried acid, and they were not cool with that at all. Obviously, that's a little bit definitely the next step up on the drug scale, in my opinion. And so they were not cool with that at all. And then he had to move back with his mom 2,000 miles away and stay there, kind of get clean. He got clean for a little while, but he still wants to smoke weed with his friends. One of his friends is a douchebag, and he's not sure what he should do. He wants to stay clean, but he really does enjoy pot and smoking with his friends and stuff like that. So what I would say to this is I would really advise that you do not go past marijuana, because there are a lot of things past marijuana that are definitely going to get you into a lot worse of stuff. So like, yeah, it starts with marijuana for some people, and then it goes to acid, and then it goes to harder stuff like ecstasy, and then it goes to even harder stuff like cocaine. I mean, for some people, a lot of people can stop at acid, and that's perfectly fine. And then they get up to, you know, heroin and whatnot, and stuff that's really, really hard to quit, that you actually get addicted to, and that's just not a lot of fun. So what I would advise to you is I'm really glad that you keep this honest relationship with your parents. I would definitely try to keep that with your parents, but I would stay clean if I were you, man. You're not really in a position to do all this kind of stuff. You said that just you're not really sure if you're responsible enough to do this, and that these guys are kind of douchebags. So I would find a reason to stay clean. I mean, I'm not always pro-drug. Obviously, I've done it before. Weed, that is. I haven't done acid, and I won't do acid ever. But when it comes to acid and harder drugs like that, it's not very good at all to be doing that, especially when you're keeping this honest relationship with your parents, having to lie and do this other stuff. Because harder drugs, then you'll just think those are fine, and then get into even harder drugs to not be satisfied with the current ones you're on. So I suggest quitting for a little while till you get your life back in order, and then kind of talk to your parents about it. Be like, hey, is it okay if I smoke weed occasionally? It'll just be a few things. All I'll do is smoke it, you know, maybe at the house, maybe just a friend's house. We're not going to do anything while we're high. So what I would say is quit smoking for a while, then become a responsible smoker if that's okay with your parents. It might not be. Either way, bro, your best option right now is to quit, because it's obviously having negative impacts on your life, moving around this and that, and just having problems with your relationships with your parents. What would you say, man?
Thanks, Tristan. First of all, I would say I would personally not do any kind of drugs. I mean, even caffeine, I would not do that. But, you know, smoking pot, I've got no problems with it. Or, you know, low-level kind of drugs like acid, I'm pretty sure it's low level at least.
It's lower level than like cocaine and heroin and stuff. Yeah, for sure. At least,
because these kinds of drugs, over usage or at least becoming dependent on them can be a bit of a problem. But you know, so it's like a regular thing. I don't go out drinking all the time, and I occasionally have one or two drinks. But you know, it's because it's something good, and it's something social you can do. And you know, if you have some friends that do smoke occasionally, then you know, go for it. Go have a good time. Go have a blast. Just enjoy yourself. Just don't do it regularly, like every day, or you know, 2 a day, 3 a day, getting on to 20 a day. Because that might just be getting to a point of an addiction, and you might need help then.
Yeah. What would you say about his relationship with his parents? Should he tell him?
Relationships with his parents is, to be honest, I think is perfect, because some parents, you know, you don't get this kind of feedback. You know, like if you're a teenager, it's very difficult to talk to your parents about certain things. But having an open relationship with your mum and your dad, that's spot on, and it's gonna, you know, improve your life quite a bit. if you look at it when you're 30 and you look back on it, because you know you can see that you've really kind of been able to be open, honest with them, and that way you've got like no negatives that you have in your life at that point.
Yep, I would honestly say just quit it for a little while, establish that relationship and that openness with your parents, and then once you get that back, ask them about it and be like, hey, what's the best way to do this? Because this is something I still want to do occasionally, but what's the best way that I could do it, you know, responsibly and to keep everything good with your parents? That's just what I would say, because you really don't need this in your life, especially as a sophomore in high school. You shouldn't be getting into that as like a dependence thing. It's okay to do it socially every once in a while, but I wouldn't advise acid or hard or things like that. But keeping this trust with your parents is obviously a key thing, because when you lose that, it's really, really hard to get it back. And obviously you're working your ass off to do that, but I'm really glad you're trying. So go ahead and get into the second email, man.
Okay, so this guy, his bro's ex-girlfriend broke up with him, and he decided to go out with his ex-girlfriend. And what his problem is that if his brother found out that he was dating his ex, then he would threaten to beat him up and beat her up, and he's just not entirely sure what to do with it, because he knows that his brother is quite defensive and protective over his ex. So what he really needs is how he should deal with it, like not tell him or maybe take the punishment. And the way I'd approach this is firstly by saying that if you try to connect with your brother a little bit more, like try and find some common ground, then you might find it easier to talk to him about it. But then again, you know, brother and brother to brother, brother to sister, sister to sister relationships might not always work out, because as far as me and my brother are concerned, we don't always see eye to eye, and we don't exactly have common ground, so we don't speak to each other a lot. But the fact that your brother's actually threatening you to beat you up might be a cause for concern.
Not specifically, like he doesn't know, right?
Yeah.
But he's saying, look, he's overprotective of his ex, so he's like, look, if anybody does something with her, I'll kick their ass. So in this situation, yes, he's threatening him, but he doesn't know that his brother did something with his ex. So anyway, keep going.
Yeah. So the way I'd approach this problem is, you know, talk to someone that you can honestly trust, like your parents, a close friend of yours, because they will support you. Like if you have those kind of trust, absolute 100% guaranteed friends, they will see you through any sort of problem, so long as you talk to each other about each other's problems, etc. But you know, if you talk to someone about this and you come up with an idea on how to talk to your brother, if you do want to tell him, that is, then really go for it. But if you want to confront him about it rather than go to anyone else first, just say, prepare yourself for any kind of situation, good, bad, whatever. Because, you know, I'm not entirely certain about your relationship to your brother, but if he respects you enough, he might, and I'm just saying this now, he might not hit you, but then again, in the worst case scenario, he might.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, it's pretty much breaking the bro code, because, yeah, but I guess it was her idea, not his, and he wasn't dating her at the time, so I guess she's free reign. But what I would say to you, man, is I'm all about, trust and honesty and coming clean with people, but some things you just shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like when you do something like this, and obviously he's not mature enough to handle it, and this is why I say you shouldn't be open with him, because he's still really overprotective of his ex-girlfriend. That shows a lot of bad things. It's okay to be some extent protective over your current girlfriend or something like that, but if you're gonna kick someone's ass for having, to do something with your ex, that's just absolutely ridiculous and unwarranted and just too far, man. I mean, he shouldn't be overstepping his bounds by protecting his ex, well, quote, protecting her, because she's doing whatever the fuck she wants to do, because, she's not in a relationship with him. So, he's obviously not mature enough because he's going to kick someone's ass, quote, quote. He doesn't really know who's at this point, who hooks up with his ex, which is absolutely just stupid and just, it's dumb. So I would say not tell him, but if he finds out somehow, I wouldn't tell a lot of people either. Trust me, I wouldn't tell a lot of people. If he finds out, you know, through the grapevine or something like that, then you need to come completely clean. He'll probably confront you about it, be like, hey, what the fuck? I heard you hooked up with my ex. And just be like, yeah, I'm sorry, man. She offered me to come over here. We did this, that, and the other thing. And I'm sorry, but this is her idea, not mine. You guys are no longer dating. And I know that might hurt you, but I didn't do this to spite you. I just did it because I wanted to hook up with this girl. So, and she offered me, right? So, and obviously say you're sorry, but he really shouldn't be overprotective of this girl, especially at this point.
Absolutely, yeah. Completely agree on that. But, you know, you're talking to two different people, so we're going to get different verdicts on things.
Of course. I'm actually going to get into the last email for today, guys. I'm going to read the whole thing because it's not that long and it makes a lot of sense. I'm kind of new to your channel. I started watching your commentaries a few weeks ago, and they're awesome, and you have the best story commentaries on YouTube. Anyways, I'm 15. I'm a freshman in high school. I've had trouble with my grades since about 6th grade. And ever since then, they've been just getting worse. Every year, I barely end up passing with some D's and a few C's. Earlier this year, my grandma, who I've lived with my whole life, passed away. And since that happened, I just stopped caring about a lot of important things. I don't feel sad all the time, but here's a noticeable drop of fucks given about some important things in my life, like school and being honest with my family about smoking and drinking. I feel like all the negative things that are in my life were slowly magnifying and turning into larger obstacles. I want to go into college, but the way things are going, I don't know where I'll be at the end of high school. Okay, so he said he's a freshman in high school, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So as a freshman in high school, you still have the entire rest of the high school experience, the last 3 years, to get through this, to pick your grades back up, to get where you want to be. And what I would say to you about this is obviously good. You're recognizing your problem. That's the first step to solving a problem, because if you don't know you have a problem, obviously you're not going to do anything to fix it. So when it comes to this, you're really going to want to put a lot of effort into school. You're going to want this control again. And I realize that your grandma passed away, and I'm sorry, man. A lot of people have to deal with that kind of situation, death and losing people that they love, and it's a hard thing. But it's completely reasonable for that to get you down for a little while, maybe a few months, until you get your gears going back and your motivation, your drive, and everything like that to do great things, to do what you want to do. That's completely reasonable. But what's not reasonable is letting that be an excuse or like a crutch or something for the entire rest of high school or all the rest of the year, and not recognizing that you can fix this problem very easily. Now, when it comes to these things, you want to fix them one at a time, because a lot of problems in life and a lot of projects and stuff you'll do, it's a lot easier to fix them one at a time instead of trying to do 14 things at once. So when it comes to school, just make sure you're showing up to class, on time and not missing a lot of days of school, especially if you're sick or something. Just try to be to school as much as possible. And the basic thing is to turn in all your work, because that's the easiest way to get good grades, is just to turn in all your work. It may not be the best work, but at least you're turning in the work. Instead of getting zeros, you're getting, 70s, 80s on assignments instead of just getting a flat 0. So keeping B's and A's will be a lot easier just by turning in all your work and being attentive in class. Now, with the other stuff, smoking and drinking, this, that, and the other thing, you're going to want to talk to your parents and figure out why you're doing these things. Is it because of depression? Is it a dependence? Is it a social thing? And you kind of want to figure that out why, and then see if you can try to put a damper to it and not do it all the time, not rely on it for certain things, for happiness or whatever you're trying to rely on it for comfort, smoking and drinking, that is. So tackle these things one at a time. Focus on grades. Start getting B's and A's if you can. I know you obviously can, because you said you used to, and then just kind of spiraled out of control. And kind of get your life in order one step at a time. Make sure your relationships with friends are good. Make sure your grades are good. Make sure your hobbies are fun and good and fresh, instead of just going into this spiraling depression and letting it get worse and worse and worse. Because if you're at the bottom right now, you can always build yourself back up. Go ahead.
What Tristan says is absolutely right. Your grades at the moment shouldn't really be a problem, because I'm from England, so, grades in here to America are quite different.
Yep.
But D's and C's, to me at least, were not even close to where I was when I started school, at high school at least, because I was building myself up to it because I saw myself progressively and gradually getting better by listening more, trying to do and understand certain subjects and hand in the work, get the feedback and try and improve on it as much as possible, because that's the only way you're going to be able to get your grades possibly higher, by paying attention, turning in your work, getting your feedback and working on it, because that is the only way progression works at times. And I can understand that all these kind of small obstacles that you used to get over are now turning into these larger objects that you're finding hard to get through. The way I would look at it is take two approaches. The first approach is look at your life and what you think is negatively impacting you as a person, because that way you can identify your problems. You might not know how to solve them yet, because you might need to talk to your parents, your friends, other family members, and as soon as you go, okay, I want to start doing this, start putting those words into action, because as soon as you do that, you'll realize that then you can move on to the second step, which is find better friends. As Tristan has said in the past, these toxic friends that you might have, you might need to get rid of them. Find new friends that you can socialize with a lot more. And I've done that, and my life within the past couple months have literally skyrocketed because I've changed my life that much. And trust me, it does make a huge impact. You might not notice it yet, but 4 or 5 months down the line, you will see a massive impact. Your grades will go up, your life will be a lot better, and you've got years to improve yourself. But is your mind has this set where if you believe something enough, that will be kind of set until you've decided you've had enough of that and you want to go and do something else. So if you think that all these negative things will negatively impact you, 100% for the rest of so many months, so many weeks, so many years, then that's what will happen. You will find that negativity brings you down, whereas you think, hold on, I think I can do better than this, I think I can, rise above this, then you'll definitely get there.
Yep. And what I would say to you is they have community college, right? So in America, we have community college, which pretty much has a 100% acceptance rate as long as you graduate high school. So what I would say, bring up your grades as much as possible in high school, because you might want to go to community college for a little bit after to maybe get your 2-year associate's degree. Because once you have your 2-year associate's degree, let's say you got a 3.5 GPA in community college, these other, universities, maybe you want to go into a higher, a private university or something like that, they're gonna mainly look at your college grades. They're not gonna give a fuck about your high school grades. Let's say you got a 3.1 in high school and you got like a 3.8 in college. They're gonna be like, wow, this guy got a 3.8 in college, I want him at my university. And so they'll have a higher acceptance rate. So what I would say is, it'll be okay, man. Like he said, don't worry about it. You obviously have 3 years to fix this, and if you don't fix it in those 3 years as best you'd want to, you can always go into community college and then go to a university from there, because they'll look at your college transcript and not really your high school grades or anything like that. So really hope you guys enjoy this episode of Ghostly Advice. Please let us know how Harry did on the channel if you guys want to see more of him. He will be making a channel soon and stuff like that. I mean, changing channels. Obviously, he's had a channel. But yeah, go ahead and talk about that real quick, man.
Yeah, so I'm sorry if I kind of botched a little bit of the emails, because, first time in a long time kind of thing. But the way I'm hoping to kind of grow my channel is from this. And I'm taking inspiration from different YouTubers to try and get this understanding, this overall understanding that I can go out and help other people. Because, I've already made an impact on someone else's life, and I realized that their life within the past couple of months has changed because of my help. And I'm thinking, if I can make a YouTube channel you know, which reaches out to hundreds and hundreds of people on YouTube, then I might just be able to make that difference, and not just as a person, but as a community. And you know, this video would be like this kind of first step in that way. So yeah, please just give me feedback. That's all I need. Good, bad, I don't mind.
Yep. I really hope you guys enjoy this video. Remember the fact I love you guys. Bye.